Well, Jamie, we feel lost her hearing at birth. She had a very traumatic birth and lost her hearing at that point. We finally were diagnosed at 6 months. They said at a 6-month doctor appointment that she had a hearing loss. But they said, don't worry, I'm sure that it's just because she's not turning to the sound. And most kids, a lot of kids don't turn to sound at
You'll pick it up
6 months.
next semester attitude, you know.
And at 9 months, she came in and she passed the hearing test. You know, they rattled a rattle right out here, and she looked. Well, incredible. She heard that. She didn't hear that. She saw it. 12 months came, and they said, I said, she's not talking. And our doctor, who's a very good doctor, said, well, my daughter didn't talk till she was 2. You know, don't worry. Well, we'd already had an older daughter, and we knew that by that time she should be at least making some utterances. And then at 14 months, Larry and I finally knew from doing some of our own simple tests that she did not hear. And so then we had some testing, and we started speech therapy, and we decided to sign because with the limited hearing that Jamie had, speech would come extremely difficult. So we chose the signing total communication option. And the reason for Jamie's hearing loss is she has 2 fistulas in her ears that are little holes in the inner ear to allow the fluid that you used to hear with. It allowed that to leak out. And that was when she was about 2.5.
When I was 5 years old, I got real sick. I got flu meningitis and spinal meningitis, which led to the loss of part of my hearing in my right ear. And I could hear a little bit, but it got worse and worse. And pretty soon I couldn't hear anything, so we started using hearing aid. And pretty soon that didn't help anymore either. That was in about when I was 7. We stopped using hearing aids because it didn't help, and I was deaf until about a year ago.
Matthew was approximately 1.5 years old when he lost his hearing due to spinal meningitis, and it was a profound loss.
I think like most parents, it was certainly very shocking and emotionally draining for us. We were really grasping at straws because with the profound loss, there's not anything that could have been done at that time. Hearing aids certainly were not effective or applicable for Matthew. So it was really a very desolate type feeling that we had. And at that time, we just did not know of any other alternatives.
When Jean was sick, she came down with bacterial meningitis. And this is what caused her to become profoundly deaf. And like Jean said, it was 11 years that she waited for her surgery.
We eliminated all the options. There was nothing additional, at this point anyway, above and beyond what we had done. And so once you've eliminated all the options, like Jane was saying, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to go for the best technology that's available. And so we went ahead and decided to do that.
The major reason we had it was for safety. You felt like your child was much safer in this environment. It just had just a lot of positive things.
Well, it's something that Jeanette really, really wanted. And using the hearing aid, she was just very, very frustrated because she withdrew from everyone, really. Her friends, she felt the friends didn't like her anymore because she couldn't hear. And so if this was going to make Jeanette happier, we were all for it.
It's right there. I've been to 7 years. It's something to do with little here and little hole. Something to work with. I'll go through it.
I didn't have to do it if I didn't want to. My parents left that decision with me. But I decided to go for it. Because I like to try to do things and everything. That's why I did it.
Well, they did extensive testing, and the evaluation process was very involved as far as the time input, but I can see how much it was necessary.
I had to try out hearing aids, and I had a speech test. I had I have one test which is very, very strange to me. I had a voice put in from my eardrum, and my doctor said, let me know if you hear anything. And she turned this knob, and I was just a boing, boing. And we're back, memory, the bull behind things, sounds like a bull, like boing. I was like, sounds really weird. It was the last test I had before surgery.
It's something that can't be done in several days. They want to make sure they got a good, viable candidate. They want to make sure that they've looked at the medical history. They want to make sure, well, number one, they want to make sure that they've got parents that are committed to the program.
You know, there comes a point where a child becomes aware that they can't hear or talk like everybody else, and they want to be. Particularly with a strong-willed child, she wants to be just like everybody else or better. So it's maybe an opportunity for her. We don't want anybody to think that we made a snap decision, because we've been asked that, well, how can you just decide that you're going to do something like this? We just didn't decide. Once we found out that Jimmy is deaf, hearing impaired, we pursued everything. We took it as far as we could go.
My first heard about the surgery today. If it helps me, help me. No matter how much hearing I said back, I'd be happy with it. Even if it's a tiny step, I'd be happy, because I miss being able to hear. I couldn't remember my mother sounded and I couldn't remember my bird sounded and the TV cars. I could not remember. Maybe a year or two after I've been deaf, I could remember. But now, I couldn't remember. I didn't know what it was next. If it's gonna help, I'll go for it. Because hearing this wouldn't help. I wanted to hear so bad, even if it was just a little.
I wasn't afraid. The one thing that they had warned us about was the fact that there was possibility, that the facial nerve could be damaged because of where the surgery was being done. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with the surgery at all.
We really didn't know if the operation would be successful. There's always that possibility that they can't get all the electrodes in, or there's something there in the inner ear that they just can't see with the CAT scan. So from a medical standpoint, I guess those were our considerations and concerns.
It was real exciting. We were all pretty keyed up about the day that Buck was going to be hooked up. And of course, when your child is hooked up and you have all these expectations that you're looking forward to, and really you try hard not to anticipate, over-anticipate. Try not to have too many expectations and things. We stopped at McDonald's on our way home that day, and I'm turning around, I'm saying, did you hear that, Buck? Did you hear the cars go by? Did you hear that that father over there at the, at the table? And he says, yes, Mother, I heard. And to him, realistically, they had told us not to do that, but your impulse is to see if they, to see if what they hear. And so we had to learn. That first day was quite eventful as far as it was for for us.
Really ecstatic for the first time. We saw this as a